Welcome back, heroes of the Nexus, to Into the Nexus, the podcast about Heroes of the Storm. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined as the trying not to laugh during the intro, Kyle Ferguson. And he's muted. It's like you're batting 1 for 2 here. Like you've got a 50% chance of being muted.
It's good to be back, Garrett. Otherwise, my laughter would have drowned out that wonderful intro.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take that from the fans.
Would have been great.
No, it's honestly good to be back. We had a great show last week with Scott Johnson. Thank you for all the great feedback on that. It was cool to hear you all enjoyed having him.
There was no feedback. It was just people going, "Oh my God, Scott's the best. This is the best episode ever, guys. More." That's not feedback. I guess that's technically feedback, but fun story. I always wanted to rename the email segment on StarCast to feedback. But Katie refused to do voiceover as a dying medic for me, so I never got that bumper done. I was gonna have
that for a bit.
I was gonna have it sound like a medevac was getting hit by feedback.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. I wanted like a female medic who drives a medevac to be like, "Oh no, feedback!" and then boom.
Well, I'd love to go into some sort of tirade at the top of the show about a couple of things, but Blizzard's already countered me in what we're going to be talking about today in our main news segment.
Yeah.
So I bought a new Barak.
I saw that, and unfortunately, the one game I saw it in was the worst game I played all week.
Ooh, that was rough.
That was a really bad game. In our defense, the game before it, 0 deaths on our entire team, and it was Haunted Mines, and we did it in under 7 minutes or something insane, or under 10 minutes. We had Hero of the Storm for the entire team 7 minutes in.
It was ridiculous. I was on Master Skin Asmodan. We had a Master Skin Illidan. You were on Tyrande. It was just, everything fell into place. There was no countering it. We completely snowballed him. Stitches is not what he once was. That first game, though, where we got into a game where we had an Abathur and a Murky on our team, we just happened to be the perfect 3-man Jaina Malfurion Muradin to combat that 5 the whole time till they got it specced up enough that they were basically our big distraction.
Our first game was so weird. I mean, and feel free to throw me under the bus. I was bitching up a storm in the first 5 minutes of that game.
It's not what I choose to lead in with, and I will choose not to remember it that way. But yes, I thought you were a bit fatalist at the beginning.
Oh man, I just saw it. I saw so the 3 of us, and then it's just Murky and Abathur, and you don't understand, man. I had just gotten out of a game where an Abathur was on my team, and he opens with STFU, and then proceeds to feed the other team. He had more deaths by 2 times over anyone else on the team, and he was freaking Abathur. So I was in a bit of a bad headspace when we got in together, and then see
nothing even happened.
And no, he he did a few things. Then he kept cussing everyone out. Then I muted him, and then before I know it, he had 9 deaths, and it was like 7 minutes in.
Wow.
And he's Abathur. I don't get it. So yeah, I was in a dark place when we started those games. So then when we queued up the 3 of us, and I see the 2 subs, Abathur Murky, I just go, I'm done. Can I veto heroes, please?
I've been having a good time.
Yeah.
Good for me.
I was on
the Abathur thing's an issue right now, just because it's a popular build circling around the Reddits and whatnot of push-heavy Abathurs that are way on the far side of the map, and kind of in a old-style Zerg learning to play StarCraft thing. If you lose because you had too many minerals, well, you're doing the right thing. And that's basically the idea on this Abathur is, if you have siege damage, no matter how much you die, you just learn to kind of wring that back over time and be less aggressive. But you need to be out there because your locusts aren't connecting. It's a great movement. In the future, we will see awesome Abathurs who adapt out of this basic strategy. But for now, it's a rough place to live in.
Yeah, it's hard. That being said, that the game, what started this whole conversation, our first game of our pre-show games tonight, where we had the Abathur and the Murky, it worked beautifully. They were both going siege. They were both just pushing their lanes like crazy. And the 3 of us were kind of left to our own devices as being the more traditional MOBA heroes.
And in this particular map, Garden Terror, we had run of things, and we had seeds galore. and I was a rather excellent pilot, if I do say so myself. And you wouldn't think Jaina would be able to carry that damage spot in our 3-man team, but because I was Malfurion, I was able to keep her mana up, and therefore, just keps going.
Yeah, I played a ton of Jaina this week. I don't know I got the Assassin daily 2 days in a row. And then I had also let one daily go, and it was a Warcraft hero. So I was like, oh, I'm bored with, I'm trying to think of what Warcraft assassin I usually play. Thrall's who I usually play if I need a Warcraft assassin. I was like, I haven't really played around with Jaina much since there changes. Let's get in there. And dude, I'm loving Jaina. I mean, holy crap, does she die easily?
Yeah, she is made of paper.
Yeah, like I'm sure I didn't do my overall meta death count any favors this week, but man, I had a blast. I had a really good time playing with Jaina, even when I even kind of have fun when I'm losing.
Their philosophy seems to be, control or escape, and health pool and damage, and you either have one of those two, and that's how you get built. So Jaina, amazing damage at the moment, a tiny bit of slow it feels like sometimes, and nothing to take up that extra.
Yeah, it's weird. So anyways, don't be a Garrett, folks. Don't complain in the first 5 minutes because you don't like the comp. And honestly, things were going a little rough in the first few minutes of the game.
Sure.
But we just, I don't know, we clawed back, took a lead, and then we never lost the lead. Then we had our second game, which was just a stomp.
Sure, well, practice those things away from your friends. Like, I've been playing a lot of Zeratul this week. I don't know, my sort of crazy assassin got in me, and I wanted to gank some fools. And you kind of forget that Zeratul always just barely gets away with any health. And you also just barely get away with any health. And that's what makes him cool and shadowy. But you forget, like, after that, he's pathetic. He has to go hide in a bush, teleport all the way back. Maybe you'll see him again later.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I played some games with you and your Zeratul. You're selling yourself short. I thought you did a bang-up job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There's some one-to-one, comparisons you can make with Dota heroes I used to play, like Bounty Hunter. Nubarak's been working so well for me because I was a constant lion back in, Warcraft 3 Dota. And his Impale, same exact spell, almost the same range. You just apply what you learn there.
Yeah. So I guess we've both been having a good time playing weird heroes that we don't usually play. Who are you grinning at in the chat room, Kyle?
Oh, scrub rank.
Someone was asked what rank they are, and they wrote scrub rank. Or maybe they're saying we're scrub rank.
I know. That's why I was giving that face like, oh, you.
Oh, you. You. Well, let's do it, Kyle. Let's get into this week's news, shall we?
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Can Stitches play now? Point me to the stage.
Just a reminder, if you want to talk about what we talked about this week or submit stories for another episode, do it over at itncast.reddit.com. Probably the top news this week are the upcoming changes to the Matchmaker in Heroes of the Storm, which I guess I've just been on a complain storm this week because it came seconds after a wave of tweets from me going, oh my god, the Matchmaker is such a broken piece of crap.
I'm sure these things go through editing, but yes, it was very well timed. And Trixler in general, I mean, you have Cloakin, who does the videos, which are great, advertise things. I can totally see him running around the office being like, come on, guys, the community needs some content. But Trixler has his ear to the ground and knows exactly what we're all kind of bitching at the moment.
That's the thing. And I'm not sitting here like, well, guys, I complained about it, and this came out 2 minutes later, so everybody thank me. This guy. No, that's not the case. I just thought it was hilarious timing because not 5 minutes later, I saw our buddy Mike Metcalf, who works for Blizzard now, tweeted. I saw this on his Twitter. I didn't even see it from the Heroes one. He's like, yeah, changes to the Matchmaker. And I went and looked at it, and I was just like, oh, timing. I love you.
Yeah.
You're great. So yeah, this is a blog post from Trixler. And this all kind of spread it up because they noticed concerns around the community regarding veterans and newer players being matched up together. And you and I have seen this all over the Reddit, like folks,
and in my own games.
And yes, but you and I don't like screen cap it and then tweet it out and be like, "What the H?"
Sure, I'm not investigating this thoroughly and trying to do the cover story on it.
Yeah. But they said that as the game matures and that they bring more players into the game, that they're going to shift the matchmaker toward catering to more experienced players, which should obviously make it feel better for a lot of us. What that means is, and they wanted us to be sure and know that as far as an MMR is concerned, that each mode in Heroes has its own separate MMR. Your quick match MMR does not affect your Heroes League MMR, does not affect your Team League MMR, and vice versa, because there's 3 things. I don't know.
Right. And they've said in the past that they're thinking about adding additional MMRs, particularly one for every single hero in quick match, so that when you sign up as something you're not particularly good at, it takes that into account. Whether or not that's going to come, they haven't said. That was a while ago. And other than that, MMRs are a bit of a mystery. My understanding is that when you get in a match with someone, let's say you're just grouping as 2 people, the rest are all going to be randoms, it adds your MMR together and then divides it in half, basically, and fills it out with the enemy team.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so you have a team of 5. 4 extremely experienced players, 1 not so experienced player. They're going to sort of even out, but on the other team, the same thing's happening. They might have, 3 inexperienced players to make up for 2 guys being absolute badasses.
I was making this joke with our friends Joel and Aaron because they both recently started playing, and I played a bunch of games with them the other day. And I was like, man, this matchmaker must have absolutely no idea what to do with our team right now. Because we had like level 7, level 4, and then level 40.
Well, I'm noticing this with my friends. I'll play with Kristen, and we have some matchmaking issues there. But her brother joins, and all of a sudden, we kind of get bumped up that next level, and things sort of even out again.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like anytime I play with you and Kristen, the games are really competitive.
Right, because I think she might maybe just be like on that lower cusp, and then together you and I put her up there, and together we get that 2 additional teammates we need, and maybe otherwise it's saying, oh well, he's up there, we'll add everyone in at her level, and we're good to go.
Right, and that was another thing they brought up was to really get a good idea for what your MMR should be, it takes hundreds of games for the system to get a really accurate assessment of your skill level.
Right, and they've outright said that, and that's the system they use on Hotslogs as well. The chat room's asking, have we talked about it? Yes, and in fact, this past week I was quite ill, but not so ill I couldn't handle numbers. I just couldn't actually physically sit up and play. So, Garrett, I'm sorry, I stalked the crap out of you. And I stalked Ben, and I stalked Chris. I stalked everyone. Everyone I play with normally, you have been thoroughly investigated on Hotslogs.
I don't use Hotslogs, so I don't know how that's being logged. How is it logging me if I don't use it?
It happens. You're not signed up. It happens, man.
Right, but one of the 10 people in that game would have to be on Hotslogs for me to be logged, correct?
So does it only...
So if I get into a game where none of us have it, you're getting an incomplete picture of my play history.
I get your full play history, though, because I see everything you just did.
Well, everything I just did was in a game with you.
Well, no, you know what I mean.
Okay.
I was in it. Ben asked me if I wanted to play. I looked at his hot logs. I saw the last game he was in. He does not have a Hotslog account.
Yeah, I don't use it either. Because when it first started, my understanding was that you would get your game would get logged if one of the 10 players involved had a Hotslogs account. But if none of you did, the game was just never added to their database. Otherwise, Hotslogs would be perfect as opposed to, you're only getting data from people who actually have an account.
Well, I was honestly surprised when I checked it out this past week, and it now has a Friends and Rivals tag.
Chat room is saying that I am correct.
Okay, well, there's a good chance still that someone in that group of 10 has, a hot log to track you on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good chance. I mean, you're going to get a decent picture, but there's still a chance that certain games are not being logged.
Well, and that's why, Blizzard is choosing to hide your MMR in the first place, because frankly, this conversation we're having right now is inflammatory. It's hanging on a thread because no matter what we do, we might disagree. If I see numbers I like, I don't disagree with them. If I see numbers I don't like, I hate it. It has holes in it. What the heck is Hotslogs doing? I'm not in the skill bracket.
See, I don't know what my numbers are, so I'm just defending it just in case. But no, I'm almost positive that's how it works. So, anyways,
All the same, that's a lot of information.
that is. I should get a Hot Slugs count because I would like to see an accurate assessment of all of that. Anyways, they showed us some numbers from their end. They showed us Blizzard stats, which I love seeing. So this was because everyone, like myself, this was what I was complaining about the day that this released, was the old, hey, I'm going to get in the quick match, and oh, yay, I'm on the team with no support versus the team with the double support makeup. This is an instant loss, and for me, it feels like every time it happens, it is. So Trixler actually gave us some hard stats on no support teams versus one or more support teams. And it's correct, though not as correct as I may have thought. They said that a 0 support versus a 1 plus support team, if you have 0 versus 1, the 0 support team has a 44.86% win rate. And 0 versus 2 has a 43.43% win rate, which they said this is lower than we would like it to be. Obviously, they're aiming for a perfect 50-50. So they did also show us numbers for 1 support versus 2 plus supports, and 1 versus 2 had a 48.7%, so still below the 50% threshold. But apparently, Kyle, 3 support is the diminishing return territory because 1 support versus 3 support actually has a 52.62% win rate.
Right, and they're doing these win rates as you yourself playing. It can be a little confusing when you're like, wait, no, this is all wrong. But you are losing like 66% of the time with no supports on your team.
I'm sorry, how?
No, you said it correctly. I'm just saying that, listening to this in an audio format, it can be confusing because Blizzard chose to present these stats as your personal win rate. So you're only winning 44% of the time.
Right, in 0 support versus 1 support scenarios.
Which, it feels like it. I mean, that 6% maybe isn't the biggest thing on earth, but those wins that you get without supports really feel like you worked hard.
Yeah. It's it's right now like that and missing attacks via Lily are the 2 things that send me into the largest blinding rage. But mostly no support on my team in a quick match.
Exactly.
Because, man, I want to go in the quick match. I want to play the heroes. I don't get to play in Hero League. But I still want a balanced team. And
Chat's informed me I did math wrong on air. Oh, well. The thing about the game right now, and I have a lot of understanding for what Blizzard's talking about. In a system where you have gold, there is another factor going into why supports suddenly don't become more powerful. They are getting assists. They are in the area of XP because you touch them with your magical heal. The XP flies across to you, and you stay the same level as that sweet carry that you're watching the entire duration of your game. But in Heroes, everyone's the same level. So you suddenly have your assassin that is killing people on the same exact level as the guy healing him. And that makes supports extremely powerful in this game.
yes. Yeah, it's crazy.
So what, I mean, do you lower their damage? No. Do you up their damage and lower the healing? Well, not really, because then healing's still a great thing. So I think the only answer is there's going to be some sort of fix to overall healing in general, perhaps, to fix this out. But counters to healing and heroes that have those things are what we need.
You're talking about support in general, not the win rate disparity? Because they're saying right here what they're going to do about the disparity, which is fix the frickin' matchmaker.
That's a good option as well.
They said due to this data and the community's feedback, aka people like me in a bullhorn going, "This sucks. What's wrong with you?" That a 0 support team will always be matched versus a 0 support team in the future. I don't believe this is currently live, is it?
No, this has not been updated yet because I have still encountered the old 2 tanks, 2 supports on the enemy team.
Yeah.
And we are a pile of squish.
Yeah. That being said, when you have 0 supports but you do have a lot of assassins, it's fun when you get to just erase someone but you lose the long game. This is just you just don't have the throughput.
Right, but we have a lot of really good auto attack heroes in the games right now, and as we learned in that awful third game we played today, those are what's are the throughput in a 2-support team. They take 2 supports, your Lili, your Rhaegar, and they take Raynor and Vala. There isn't a 2-support team that can now fill that exact hole. They take ETC, they've got like the meta ball 2-support team.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that ETC in our game that didn't go particularly well tonight, whew, that guy, that was rough.
He was in our biz, most certainly.
Yes, that is an accurate assessment. This rule obviously will not affect pre-made parties of 5 members, much like all of the other previous existing rules. So if you really want to go in with no support, you can. Have fun.
Yeah.
Get a bunch of self-healing heroes and have a good old time. They did also say that a team with 0 warriors versus a team with 1 warrior and in other matchups seems to need less attention as the win rates are actually similar, and they gave us stats for those. So 0 warriors on a team versus a team with 1 warrior have a 50.47% chance of winning. Actually have a slight advantage, according to Blizzard's numbers, to not have a warrior on your team. And if you're 0 warriors on a team versus 2 warriors on an opposing team, you have a 52.15% win rate. So they said they're pretty happy with where that is at the moment, and don't really feel they don't feel that they need a rule like all matchmaking has to have a warrior or no warriors on both teams.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You feel it, but then you're missing the support, so the warrior has no role. All of a sudden, it's an odd place. I'm surprised that there's going to be role restrictions for quick match. I just assume that this is the way they intended it to be eventually, that people just pick what they want, and now they're gonna, enforce these group comps into it. It's great. I want to win. Like, I want someone supporting me, assuredly.
I want to feel like I won or lost. Like, this is kind of what I was talking about on Twitter the other day. Like, when I lose, I want to feel like I lost just because like I was outplayed or they strategized better than we did. I don't want to sit there, even if it's not true. I don't want to have the shadow of the doubt that we would have won if we had a support, because they had Rhaegar and Tyrande and we had literally no support.
Yeah.
And that's like, and I'm not even saying that it is always true. I'm sure there's cases where we absolutely could have won. Obviously, it happens because it's still over a 40% win rate in those scenarios. But I don't know. I don't think that's good for like the morale of the community.
Agreed.
So. They also talked a little bit about population issues and the 6-minute rule. Currently, if the matchmaker cannot find you a close match within 6 minutes, it widens the parameters to find you a match quicker. That's how we end up with games where there's 0 supports versus 2 supports or 3 supports or something insane. Because last year they put out a blog on how the matchmaker works, and they did say that it prioritizes a proper matchup, but if it can't find it, it just, gets you into a game because it doesn't want you just sitting waiting. So that's what causes this issue. They said that the team is looking at increasing the amount of time that the matchmaker waits as the population of the game increases. So we could see the 6-minute rule become 7, 8, etc. minute rule. And that if you are particularly high skilled, there's not a whole lot of other teams of equal skill to match you up against. So the issue is the high level teams are being forced into games against lower skilled teams. So all of us scrubs who are just weekend warriors getting matched up against, crazy dudes.
It's what's happening in Team League right now to people.
Yes.
But that's who there is for you to verse.
As our 2 Team League games last week showed.
Yeah, that first one wasn't so bad, but that second one we got.
Yeah, that first one where it was like 43-0, I think.
Yeah.
And then that second one where it was like 0-43.
The real cool thing about going to Team League is the game dynamic didn't change at all. It's a deathball-y, objective-based game for the most part. And I remember, we signed up. Let's make a Dota team. All right, guys, let's make it happen. And people played completely differently than you'd ever seen them play before in solo queue.
Yep.
And it was frightening, and we quit as fast as possible.
I never want to play Dota Team League again.
No, it's a whole different world. People move different. They move like they do in the actual, pro arenas. And solo queuers just want to lane and get the gold and have a relaxing time. This game, nothing really changes between our play style and a pro's play style, except for they execute things better.
Right. Case in point again, the Tyrande Diablo combo we were talking about last week.
Exactly.
Things of beauty.
The
Although
confusing thing about this is I've never waited for 6 minutes. It always seems like it's been rather eager to throw me into these poorly constructed groups.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because the games I got into today yesterday with no support, I didn't wait 6 minutes.
No?
The other team had a support. What the crap, guys?
But it could just be one of those, like, let's charge everyone 1 more cent to ride the bus situations. And Blizzard goes, well, if we cut down wait times by 30 seconds, we get 100 kilobytes of data or something like that. More per day, because that's that many more games played. That's that many more games tested. Let's just make the groups and go, go, go.
Okay, you're talking about... Okay, I was like, what the hell are you talking about data? Okay. So testing results is what you're referring to.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, basically they're trying to work on that problem of the highest tier of skill level for players, because Trixler did say that is an issue, and it's always kind of be. At some point, there's going to be a few teams that are just incredibly better than everyone. That's kind of the interesting thing about these games is if you're playing on ladder, it's very likely you could come up against a pro team. You could come up against Tempo Storm.
Right, that's one reason why esports feels so real as opposed to maybe pro sports where they're in their mansions behind the cameras and do not touch lines.
Yeah, that was like when I got a text from our buddy D-Day the other night. He's like, oh, I got into the StarCraft beta. I went and played a game, got matched up against Huck. Didn't go well. I'm just
That's
like,
who there is to play against.
I wouldn't expect it did go well for you, D-Day. As someone who constantly laments about his brother kicking his ass in StarCraft, I can only imagine how badly Huck just dug him into the dirt. So they also talked about solo queuing, which is something I'm sure you're quite interested in, Kyle, because you've always been I would say a champion of solo queuing in MOBAs.
I would say so. I would say I played so much solo queue that I'm in fact having to readapt to team games now that my friends actually want to play these styles of games.
Yeah.
It's nothing against you, man. Like, Dota, it's a lot of work, But I finally find myself with friends going, no, tell me what I did wrong. And I'm like, oh, no, I just want you to enjoy the game. Please don't put this pressure on me.
I remember having to shake Kyle through the internet, folks, to get him to teach me how to play Dota. Like, just, what should I be doing now? What should I be doing now? Just do your thing. No, literally, I don't know what to do. There's there's a shop in the woods. It looks like an outhouse. What do I do with this thing?
Because you know what I'm thinking inside, and it's the inflammatory thing I don't want to say. You should play by yourself and come back later. Because I don't want to deal with your nub ass.
Well, see, that was the issue. Because you drug me into Dota. And I was like, no, I tried playing alone. I just was called every name in the book and never wanted to play it again.
I know, right? The first one's free, and then I closed the door on you. Wait a minute, you were going to hang out with me during this.
That's exactly what our friend Brian did to me in World of Warcraft. He drugged me in, and then he swapped servers and became Horde. Thanks, Brian.
Oh, Horde was where it was at. That was your fault.
He told me to start on Lightbringer and make an alliance character.
And that was my fault. I was on Lightbringer. No, it all comes down to another friend. You know what? That's a whole long story that I was totally involved in, and I apologize.
Thank you, Kyle. I hadn't met you yet. It was freshman year of college. I didn't know you existed, but thanks.
You're welcome for that.
I appreciate it.
Butterfly effect.
God, I stayed there until Lich King.
Wow.
That's when I swapped to Horde on a different server. Now I've swapped servers so many damn times. Anyway, let's talk about solo queuing. They said that the Matchmaker already tries to match party and composition, but much like the 6-minute rule, that the Matchmaker will start to break its own rules to get you into a game quicker. So they had an interesting amount of stats for this as well in a pie chart, which I'm trying to load up really fast here. So this is basically like the amount of times you get matched up against a 5-stack team as a solo queuer, and apparently it happens almost never. It's like 0.14% that you go in by yourself, and the team you're fighting against is a 5-man pre-made.
It's excellent. I've never been so pleased with a solo queue that isn't its own button, because we're all asking for it. It's a certain persona to the environment. Everyone's willing to talk, supposedly, and they're more open to strategizing with random accounts that they've just met. But 92% of your solo queue games are with nothing but solo queued people. Fabulous.
That's insane.
That is some good news to end this on.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So for all my whining, damn good job, guys.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
That's an impressive feat. Now we just need the supports divided up.
Yeah. Yes,
the last thing they
please.
go into here is the surrender option, which is always a bit of a hot topic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, which I always say I don't want it until that one game like we had today. I'm just like, I wouldn't mind it here. I wouldn't mind it. There's no crawling back from a 4-level deficit. It's not happening. But basically, as I surmise in the show notes in all caps, not happening.
Nope. Bring it in for pro play. Bring it in for team league. If everyone wants to leave and those 5 people together can decide over Skype, sure, you're in that environment anyway. Everyone's invited. Nobody wants to have the guy advertising that there is a surrender button and trying to get everyone to click it.
Yeah. Also, I totally looked at the wrong pie chart. I apologize. The solo getting matched up against a 5-stack is what happens. Like that was the 0.14%, but that's when you are yourself on a 5-man team. That wasn't the solo queue stuff. Sorry. Solo queue was if you go in solo, the chances of you going up against a pre-made 5-man is 0.02%.
There's a reason we have charts and graphs and all these beautiful things to help us humans understand numbers. Go look at the link yourself if you're interested in some of the stats we've said today.
It is absurd. Like, that's crazy. That's like falling out of a boat and into an open whale's mouth. Like, what are the chances of that happening? Though if that would happen, honestly, people would remember your death for a very long time.
Sure. Or at least the next week. We're very busy people.
Terrible person, Kyle. Hotfix rolled out this week, which fixed a bunch of issues. I guess there were latency issues that could cause players to be removed from the draft mode lobby. I was having an issue where I was just being kicked back to the login screen after a game. They also fixed an issue that could cause stalls and stuttering during gameplay after using certain hero abilities. They didn't specify which ones were. As far as Battlegrounds were concerned, I guess there was an issue where player-controlled Garden Terrors could place a overgrowth within the Hall of Storms.
Yes.
That's been fixed. You can't do that. And as always, I'm sitting here going, why didn't I know I could do this before it was fixed?
I've known about this for 2 weeks. I didn't bring it up on purpose. It's a horrible thing to do to your friends. The place you go to, what are we calling that? The starting area?
Apparently it is called the Hall of Storm.
The Hall of Storm. Oh, good. We need more of storms in this game. Maybe we could call it the Heroes of Storm.
We call it the altar. It's the damn altar.
There you go.
It's an altar.
That's nice.
It's where heroes resurrect in Warcraft 3. Just saying. Should be
Good
called
connection.
the altar.
Well, all the same, it puts out a healing aura that just so happened to also heal the potted plants, which slowly lose health over time, thereby making them last forever, allowing you to make a wall to lock in anyone who died and did not have a teleport to get out of the altar in the first place, thereby trapping your team and trolling them.
Yeah, it's just the worst. And I really wish I could have done it to you guys at least once. Just once to say I did. I'm going to grieve you over and over. Just one time when we're going to lose already. I just want to be like, oh, Kyle, you're so close. And overgrowth.
It takes 3 of them to do it, though. So can you imagine you're wasting the entire duration of the actual terror to set this thing up on top of the troll you're already performing?
This makes me want to know, can I place like 3 Niduses? Can I arrange Nidus worms in a way that I can actually block it off? But I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it.
The carpet is unput-onable.
Except for overgrowth, apparently. Or was. It's a bug.
That could go
It's been
anywhere.
fixed.
But it is important to know for Zagara players out there, and there's a lot of new ones right now, the sort of curved sides where there's open tile, those are completely open for you to put your Nidus Worm down.
Yep, or creep tumors.
So stop leaving your Nidus Worm just outside the Hall of Storms, because it drives me nuts watching you fly in there and fly out.
Yep. Raynor's confident aim talent now appropriately reduces penetrating rounds cooldown upon striking an enemy hero, and his bullseye talent now appropriately stuns and increases the damage taken by the first enemy struck by penetrating rounds. So like I said, some issues with penetrating round on Raynor. Again, didn't know about any of these. This is so often the fact with the hotfixes. I also don't play a lot of Raynor. And then finally, casting Sylvanas' Shadow Dagger on Rhaegar will no longer cancel his Ghost Wolf form. Why didn't I know about this?
I know, this one I'm fine with, because it's like, get out of my face, Rhaegar. I'm just trying to play the new hero.
I almost wish that there was some type of a mechanic that certain abilities did pop him out of. Because everyone else, you know, they mount, and you can dismount them to slow them down. Not only is his mount up instant, but you can't knock him out of it.
Yeah.
Granted, it's slower than normal outspeed, but not by a whole lot.
Rhaegar's real powerful right now.
Yep.
He is I think he's one of the top ban heroes right now. That may have changed over the last week, but last week he was. And in fact, Uther with Divine Shield was becoming highly picked because it was a substitute.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it very
Central
briefly last week.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned it because my mind was just blown watching those ESL games, and I'm like, wait, they're taking Uther and they're picking Divine Shield. What's going on? And then the casters are like, oh yeah, well Rhaegar's getting banned out, so Divine Shield is pretty much a second health bar you have to burn through, or well, wait for it to dissipate.
Yeah.
And it serves a very similar purpose to ancestral healing, which
Rhaegar real powerful.
again blew my mind. Yeah, gotta love the doggy, man. Gotta love the doggy. I like Rhaegar. He's fun to play because of his instant mount up. Again, like we've said about every game we've ever talked about, mobility. It's just fun. Any type of mobility spell in any game.
That sight is amazingly powerful.
Yeah.
And people are forgetting that with the new and improved Sentry drone, which is great.
So Kyle, I hear you got your Asthma Dunk portrait.
Well, I will have.
We'll be getting it.
Yeah, the one prize that is guaranteed to all who enter the Heroes of the Dorm fantasy bracket, of which I did, and it took forever because I applied myself, Garrett.
Did you?
I took this list and I stalked them as hard as I stalked my friends.
Okay, because
Ran to
I was under
hotspots.
the impression that you just looked for the names of pro StarCraft players and just picked them blindly.
Well, you know, I did kind of, favor someone named Suppy a little bit, but he's up against
I was like,
Kawhi Rice, which was...
guys, Kyle called me today, and he's just like, so Suppy and Kawhi Rice are on some teams, and they're I picked them.
Pretty much. But no, but they were backed up by fact here. What I did, and anyone can go do this right now. You have until the 11th to complete it, so you probably listen to this Friday or someday after that, so go now. And you can build a massive bracket of how you think this is all going to play out over the course of the Heroes of the Dorm. At heroesofthedorm.com, they did not decide to use that other website for some reason. Hot D.
What other website?
Remember they were going to go by Hot D?
Oh.
Now it's Heroes of the Storm, or of the Dorm.com.
I'm very glad they didn't do that.
No, yeah, they decided to just skip that whole pile of worms. And I went through with the teams here. It says who their team captain is. And I stalked them on Hotslogs, looked them up, saw how many practice games they had with their team, saw if they had an actual team league put together, what rank they were in themselves, and built my list off of that.
So you actually got into a fantasy bracket.
Yeah, it was really hard work, though.
Cats and dogs are living together, man. This is mass hysteria.
I know, right? And I see them, like, on Steam. Football Manager, hey, guy with his fists up. Like, hell yeah. I'm like, oh, what's the click? And it's nothing but paperwork. And it's like, ooh, excel the game. But I busted my ass a little bit here. I'm curious to know if my particular method of investigation yields any fruit, because there are prizes for this thing. So we'll see.
So there's nothing stopping me from just, say, clicking everything randomly and just hitting submit to get my portrait, right?
Yeah, why not?
All right, cool. I'll make sure to do that.
Just throw it together, but just so you know, Berkeley, where Suppy is real good. Like their Hot Slogs accounts were amazing. They've practiced a ton together, and Kawhi Rice was on Washington, so which sadly goes up against Berkeley by the best of 8.
Huh. All right. Well, that'll be the game to watch, I guess.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Oh, Florida Gulf Coast is in here. Is that the only Florida team? I'm looking real quick.
There's some no contests hidden all throughout this. A couple of people in the Hot Slog Bronze Leagues, got together and found that they didn't have anyone to fight and automatically got pushed up to the front. So they say they're going to be casting these games. Might not be much of a show until we get to that round of 8.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, Penn State has a team. I'll have to see if I can go find those guys and give them all high fives when I'm up there next week.
The Canadian colleges have great names. Like, I love Assumption College. That's just great. What a great place to get your degree.
Assumption?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that is great. In mini news this week, Na'Vi now has a Heroes of the Storm team. The Founders Pack is no longer for sale. We had an email I guess we never got to. A guy was asking, should I buy the Founders Pack? And I guess the answer is you can't now. I'm sorry, dude. We didn't get to it fast enough. Thing I'm most excited about is the right-click on click through the mini-map option is being worked on. Finally, my Sentinel will no longer wildly shoot off in the wrong direction because I clicked too far with it. And then Kyle, the only time I've ever seen him BM me personally is this is it. Kyle's just like, just get your shit together, Garrett. Well, God, what are you doing? It's just like, you don't get it, man. You don't understand.
I had a solid 24 hours of regret after letting that one slide last after show.
Kyle got so mean at me and Ben, and he felt terrible about it. We're just like, dude, we don't care. We don't care at all.
It's an issue I never have, but I think it's because I click so constantly. I use my mini-map to make long moves, and then I continually watch myself and the mini-map and make small clicks around to adjust my pathing. So people who say, oh God, the pathing, or I just clicked the mini-map, I can't fathom why they're having these difficulties.
I click on the mini-map all the time. I ping like crazy. It's really just Taronda or anyone else who has a skill shot that has global range, like if you take the level 20 talent for Thrall's Sunder. Because for whatever reason, the way my brain works is when I click the ability and I see the skill shot aiming reticule, I always move my cursor to wherever the end of the reticule is.
Oh,
It's just what I do naturally. It's how I naturally play the game. So when I use Taronda's Sentinel, I move my cursor as far out as I can because it just naturally makes more sense. It makes you you can aim better because it takes a larger mouse movement to move that cursor. Whereas if you're keeping your cursor really close to your hero and you have Sentinel activated to aim, the tiniest little movement will send that thing spinning like crazy. So, because that's how pendulums work. But
no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's like, really taking your time, aiming down the sights, and then someone just throws a mirror in front of you.
Right.
I get it from that perspective.
And that's the other issue.
I thought you guys were just clicking on the borders wildly. I'm like, well, maybe more minute, closer clicks around your hero might be what you need.
No, it's really just Taronda that I have that issue with. And that's the thing. Like, I love the UI design in Heroes. And the Unbound minimap is beautiful. It is one of the most gorgeous, freaking minimaps I've ever seen, and I love it. The issue being, though, is I kind of wish they would just slap a frame on that freaking thing and make it the same area in every game. Because it's not an issue we have in StarCraft. The minimap is always the same active area, regardless of the size of the map or the shape of the minimap. It all fits and is squished however it needs to be to fit in that set. This is how big the minimap box always is. So, I don't know.
I welcome the innovation. I mean, we certainly don't need a giant box on the side with attack, patrol, and that sort of biz happening in something like Heroes. It's a great advancement for the viewing public.
Yeah.
That we've got rid of all that side business. But yeah, it did come with a sort of odd mini-map choice. And it's on the wrong side for most gamers adapting to this game in the first place. So bring it on. Bring on all the mini-map options.
Yeah. That being said, I kind of don't want them to change it because it's just gorgeous.
That's cool.
I really like it. So anyway, there's my defense, Kyle. My incredibly long-winded defense.
No, I'm glad we had this discussion.
Dustin Bratter also said this week that hero release will be quicker in the future. I'll believe this when I see it, much like I don't believe them every year at BlizzCon when they say, well, we're going to start rolling out World of Warcraft expansions faster. It's like, you've literally said that at every BlizzCon since the beginning.
It's a good wish, and I'd be saying it too if I worked on these particular projects.
Yeah. I guess it has sped up a little bit.
Sure.
Though I'm not really sure. We had Siege of Orgrimmar for a year, so maybe not. I don't know.
Right, but by them taking away the Founders Pack and then posting all over the launcher that end of beta's coming, we're all sitting around going, no, it can't be. Our heroes are a little light at the moment. We don't have counters to things we need.
Yeah. So, anyways. I want more.
You got to read the next mini news just for me, though.
All right, just for you, Kyle. Anubarak's Beetles will have their AI fixed in the future.
Bring it.
They're working on it, man. It's happening.
Those things would just stick around and wail on some people. He could be a force to be reckoned with.
Beetlejuice, man.
Yep.
Beetlejuice.
He's got a talent called that.
He should.
Beetlejuiced.
Oh, there you go. See what they did there.
When he kills things, they get bigger and they're Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So bad. Thanks to our patrons over at patreon.com/ITN for supporting the show. We still find it insane that anybody wants to subscribe and pay for what we've been doing for free for a while now. But thank you for doing that. We're almost up to 100 patrons, sir. We're almost up to 600 a month. That's insane.
That's awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Our next goal is at 1,000 a month. We'll be casting a game every month, fully decked out in our Sunday best. We'll be wearing suits.
Yes.
Suits and bow ties.
I look forward to that.
Or maybe a necktie. Depends on what mood we're in.
Well, and we've said it before, but, you guys supporting us like this gives us the time investment to make the show the best it can be. And I hope you're appreciating what we're doing with it, because we want to keep this going for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I love being able to put a little more time into the shows.
Yeah.
So this week I want to thank some patrons. Thank you to Dwardek. Thank you to Stephen S. And thank you to our friend Ben Zweifel, who apparently backed us.
Yep. It's adorable. I love it. He messaged me while we were doing the after show games saying, "Ooh, let me in." I'm saying, "It's for patrons only, man. I'm sorry." So he played by the rules.
He's a patron. And he didn't just do it for a cent either. Like, he's giving us a decent donation every month.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ben. That's so sweet of you.
It's so cute. I love it.
And folks, you don't understand. Ben helps me with so much crap because he lives close to me. He's like that friend. It's like, I need help with something. Better call Ben.
I need a couch. I need a lesson.
Exactly. So, thanks again. He is like my wedding planner now. He and his wife Abby, they're so helpful. It's insane.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I think I came at him too for some help with the catering costs.
Yeah,
is this how much it should cost? And they're like, yes, it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yep, that's where the money goes.
Yep. Well, that's the important thing. Like, one thing you really don't want to mess up. You don't want anyone to have crappy food to eat at your wedding.
No.
Which I must say was not the case at your wedding. Those were the best damn cupcakes I've ever had.
It was delicious. The place burst into flames as soon as we left, though. The restaurant burnt down after they did our wedding.
Really?
Yeah, like somehow.
I thought you were talking about the church you got married in. Holy crap. I'm glad
and we dodged a whole bullet there. All I was thinking was, oh my God, if our catering had burnt down.
Yeah. Well, for you. Oh my God, for them, that's their business.
I know.
Oh, that's terrible. I don't know how to properly segue into strategy, so I guess I'll just
choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? That seems generous.
Impressive work, hero. I think you're ready for more.
Our strategy this week was inspired by listener Dirk. And Dirk writes, "Hey guys, how's it?" But he didn't put a question mark, so it's more just like, "How's it?"
Yeah.
It was just a statement. He says, "I'd love to make a case against mid-max damage builds. A lot of people seem to get pissed off whenever someone doesn't go the max damage build for whatever hero you're playing. By going full damage, you lose a lot of utility, area control, mobility, and the like. These all help you stay alive longer, which can make all the difference, especially amidst the chaos that is solo queue. Examples of great non-damage talents are Zagara's Creep talent, no mana cost, increased size, speed increase. Also the speed with which the creep actually spreads. I love Zagara's Creep build, by the way. I should probably finish his email before I go off on my rant about our discussion.
No, let's not break tradition of today's show.
He also said Jaina's range talents, Frostbolt range, Blizzard range, Blizzard area effect, and Rainer's non-Banshee ult, the Hyperion, which I see taken all the time. He says, so I'd suggest people try some of these and see how you can use the mobility, vision, or area control and the tactical options they bring. In short, play chess, not checkers. Cheers. P.S. Do you guys own all the heroes yet? No.
No.
That's a lot of money.
Other than Vala, I have a very finely crafted pile of heroes that I play.
Mine's less finely crafted. I own Nova, who I never play. Who else do I own that I never play? Nova's the only one that jumps to mind. I own an Uberak, who I rarely play, but I want to get back into him. And since the nerf, I own Arthas, who I literally cannot tell you the last time I played Arthas, which breaks my heart.
He's up 4% right now, so he's back above 50%. So
yeah, he's just seems boring now.
We've got ETC to compare every warrior to right now, so
we're
naturally going to have some trouble.
Who I'm really enjoying. Anyway, back to Dirk's entire point, which is not going the max damage route, which I'm a big proponent of. So I may have picked this because he is preaching to my choir.
Right. Well, the first thing you need to do about this email is someone has clearly looked at your talents. When do people have time to look at your talents? When they're dead. They're angry in the first place. So ignore any comments you got in that bracket of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And chat room just exploding with, you need to try this build for Arthas and that build for Arthas. And it's like,
Oh, that's okay. I mean, that's kind of what this conversation is about. You play the hero the way you want to play, but there are talents that can seem completely far off that can actually maximize a lot of things. So one thing I'm doing right now with Malfurion, and I'm loving it, is I'm doing this get as many buttons as I can build, because he's always out of mana. And if you do not get Conjurer's Pursuit at level 1 that gives you additional mana regen, people can get mad at you. But what am I replacing that with? All the free spells. On top of the 5 skills I have to start with, I get Scouting Drone, Healing Ward, Mule, Shrink Ray, and Storm Shield.
So it's 5 extra buttons.
Yes. I have 10 buttons when I play this build. And you know what? It doesn't really matter if I run out of mana, because I've got 5 free spells.
I was about to say, what about his passive? And then I remember, oh wait, that's an active passive.
Yeah, it's a button too that you got to use on people.
You can't even use it on yourself. You can't even hold down Alt and tap it like a lazy person.
There's one level at level 16 that's stopping me from having 11 buttons. And there's holes for 11 buttons, Blizzard. You're driving me nuts here. I just want to fill that extra hole with something. But no, just move on. Just keep moving. But it's a great build. I'm really enjoying it. Scouting Drone is amazing because it gives sight. It gives all this value that you wouldn't have otherwise.
You broke me. I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, Scouting Drone, I accidentally took it last week on ETC, and I love it.
Wow, ETC gets it.
Yes. I don't know why. I accidentally clicked it because I tried to pick a talent in the middle of fighting somebody in lane. And accidentally picked Scouting Drone, but dude, I don't know why more people don't take that talent. I know we see it a lot in pro games, but I never see it in my quick match. Occasionally I'll see it in Hero League, but take it, people. Sight is so important. There's maybe 2 maps
it's bad at, but there's so much smoke on Spider Queen. There is so many places to hide all those nooks and crannies on every single map, and Haunted Mines is my worst map. This really just makes things safe.
Chat room, I just need to take a moment. You are my heroes. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm being quoted with a date, no less.
They all took your comment and they're just rolling in it.
Do you want me to keep going? Because I can.
No, you're good.
Just really drive that into the ground.
So to comment on one of the things that Dirk brought up, he brought up Jaina's range talents, Frostbolt range, and etc. The build I've been doing on Jaina, because I hadn't touched her, I went to Heroes of Fire, I looked at the top-rated build, and it was like an all Frostbolt build. And what's the first damn thing you take? Range on Frostbolt, and I can't imagine playing this build without it.
With Frostbolt range?
Without it, yes.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
The amount of killing blows I've gotten through walls, or all kinds of crazy stuff. Someone just with that sliver of health, they're getting away, but your Frostbolt is like pretty much as far as you can see. You can hit somebody. It's gorgeous. It's a slow firing missile too, so when you angle it right and you lead on it and you actually hit them and they die, it's just the best feeling in the world.
Oh, it feels good. I mean, Frostbolt range is incredible with how squishy she is. My problem is I'm always running out of mana, so I either have to take Conjurer's Pursuit or I have to take, what is it? Her level 4 talent?
Yes.
Arcane Intellect.
As a matter of fact, let's see. Dan, the author of this guide, in the notes down below, said that this is somewhat outdated as of the Sylvanas patch. And he said really the only thing he thinks he would change is taking Arcane Intellect at 4 and then maybe Arcane Power at 20. So he hasn't had a chance to update his guide, but I read that little thing. That's exactly how I've been building it. Except that level 20, I actually still take the Winter Mute more often than not. Because damn, Water Elemental is just an unstoppable killing machine.
Oh, if Winter Mute was a thing with a lower cooldown on Blizzard, Jaina would be a top pick every time.
Yeah.
As such, Winter Mute's just cool either way. But getting 2 Blizzards cast in the same area is phenomenal. I love it.
It's great. It's absolutely great. So, no, I absolutely agree with Dirk here.
Yeah, these are questions you have to answer for yourself, though. Because for some people, adding range, that is value on top of a spell that's already happened. Whereas for me, I cannot not take Snow Crash, level 16. You get an additional wave of Blizzard on Jaina, because you are adding an extra third of damage.
Right, but that's only if you land it, and the chances of a hero standing in Blizzard for all 3 strikes are slim to none.
Right, maybe it's a little, Christmassy, but it feels good when that happens.
No, it absolutely does. You need to... I would take that in a pre-made team with a stun, and I can coordinate. If I'm playing with, an Uther. And I can be like, and Uther just yells, all right, I'm stun going up, and then I just drop my Blizzard, and I know all 3 hits are going to land consistently. I would absolutely take it. But I've been solo queuing all week, so I haven't been even bothering with a Blizzard build at all. Even though I really like the Blizzard build for Jaina. Blizzard is such a fun ability, and it hits like a truck.
It's something I use exclusively on Get the Thing maps. So that would be Cursed Hollow, 100% Blizzard build for me, because the zoning you can do there is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I've really grown to love Jaina this week. Enough that I really want to pick up that whatever the skin you have to buy is. Not the winter one. The other one's like a different type of mage armor set. I love that, the way that looks. It's so cool looking.
Oh, the one that looks like she could be shot through a cannon and in the wall?
Yes. Yes, it's an actual tier set from Lich King, I believe. I think it was a Lich King tier set. It may have been a Burning Crusade one, I forget. But it had electricity would go between the 2 forks. It's a dope-ass set. I loved it. Loved it. But no, Dark's totally onto something here. Now, Zagara, I see a little bit more I don't really ever do the creep build unless I'm just kind of bored with my normal kill the crap out of people with Hydralisk build that I do.
Sure.
But the creep build is super fun. It is really, really fun.
Much like Scouting Drone, though, if people aren't using the information you're provided with your amazing creep, it doesn't end up being worth it.
No.
And in that case, the best thing you can bring to your team of random people is damage, because that's going to kill people. That's going to stop spells from going off in the first place. Zagara has 2 builds, in my opinion, and they're completely based around her ult. And I love them both. The Nidus Worm is great because you get to skip every single regen and health talent along the way, because you can always just go back and heal whenever you want. Whereas the Maw build, sure, you take those regens along the way, but you also get to take some of the sweet damage stacking things.
Yeah, no, that's the build I almost always do, is the regen build with Maw and the 2 buffs to Hunter Seeker, the one that does attack range and damage, and then the one that allows you to have 2 charges of it. Love it. Love me some Zagara, man. I think Tyrande is like creeping up. She might overtake Zagara for my favorite hero. So I'm playing her so much, but it's a tight race.
Well, given that little factoid we figured out during our games today, that if you heal an ally, you also get healed.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I didn't notice that. When all the Tyrande
I don't think anyone
changes.
really knows this. I think it's worth expressing. You can heal yourself for a lesser amount, boom, cast it on yourself. Or you can just cast it on someone else, be it a creep, and get a bigger heal in the first place on yourself.
Well, it's not a bigger heal, it's the same heal. So you might as well always heal someone or something else.
Right. If you're going to heal, don't cast it on yourself, basically.
Right. Right. Unless you're like... I still do the panic alt Q, like when I'm retreating.
Sure, it happens.
But it's just a habit I have to break. And, yeah.
Well, it's that old fight another day. It's watching the WoW healer popping all his cooldowns on himself, and as you go, no!
Oh, geez. If I find the time to play another game tonight, and we can go screw around against people we don't want to try hard against. Can we finally try our like all merc like demolition like lane push team? I want to just try it because him talking about people getting mad about Raynor taking Hyperion makes me think I need to get back to that. I want to do my mercenary Raynor lane push build, take Hyperion and just walk under Hyperion with my bar buddies of mercenaries and just walk over a fort.
I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to do that, yeah.
That'd be fun.
But, you kind of highlight the main point that Dirk is kind of making in the background here. By not adding absolute damage, you can supply things like sight and map control to your team. Whether or not your team takes advantage of that is its own business.
Yep. Well, thanks for your email, Dirk. If you'd like to submit a question for our strategy segment, you can do so at itncast@gmail.com. It is time now to get a little wishful.
For ire!
The guilty will suffer.
Is there something amiss?
All the tribe, haste to my blade!
None survive. I must hunt you. Face Nexus.
At least I have chicken.
I don't want to face Draxus.
But, trifling gnome?
Fair enough. I am not a gnome. Wishlist, this is where you write in and tell us what you would like to see added to Heroes of the Storm. And usually you guys get pretty fun with it. And if you don't, chances are we pick the fun one over you.
I was going to say, that sounds like a threat. This better be fun.
Better be fun, yeah. Our wish list comes to us today from Travis, who would like to see a pet battler added to Heroes of the Storm. He says, greetings, longtime podcasters, one-time Archons. We're still in Archon. We're still in StarCraft territory.
Right, we just played Archon the other day.
We did, it was mind-boggling. I felt like I was playing it like under the influence of some type of heavy drug or being really drunk.
Well, that's just not playing StarCraft for a while. But on top of that, there was also this like, let me just wait. No, you control the army, but for the first 5 minutes, I'll just do everything else, and that's not exactly how you want to play that. So it takes practice, and Archon mode is going to be its own thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, he said pet battler. He'd love to see the pet battles represented in Heroes of the Storm. Pet battles from World of Warcraft if you're unfamiliar, if you're not a WoW player. He said, I'd be happy with any hero here, and they have a lot of free range, obviously, but I think Squirt works because she is technically a Diablo 3 character anyway, which I wasn't aware of that. So, cool. He said the team could easily go a few different ways. They could be a static 3 Pokemon pets that you could control in order, with each dealt being 0.25 of a death, and then when the third goes down, you have a full cooldown. They could all be out at the same time, all of the Vikings, or they could be a group of random pets that you could end up with, possibly even choosing who you get based on talents the entire way. As such, there's so many ways you could take this. I love this idea. It reminds me of the Pokemon trainer in Super Smash Brothers. Exactly,
and I'd like to see that just run with. We have Lost Vikings. I don't think we need another hero that is splitting himself. I want to see that be, an exclusive thing to him. I'd be sad if we had another sort of hover in the back and give you buffs atop your head hero. That would just defeat the uniqueness of Abathur and Lost Vikings being 3 separates. So let's do the snap. Like, have the Pokemon, or excuse me, pet battler hanging out in the altar, putting out the pets, and then when you use your ult and ability, I guess it would be probably your D ability. That would be your switch between different pets.
That would be the passive, yeah.
Yeah.
Or your trait, sorry. I keep calling it passive, and that makes no sense if it's active. It's a trait, so the trait.
Right, some traits are...
You could also do it where, like, if you... Well, then you would always have to hearth, and that'd be a pain in the butt. I was thinking, like, you do it when you hearth, but instead of, like, your pet going back to the altar and healing up, like, it just snaps right back to the trainer, and you see the trainer's health and mana go up, and then you can reselect which pet you want to bring out of the cage.
Yeah, the death thing would get a little complicated, particularly because whenever you die, people would start yelling at you to pick a certain kind. In fact, I know in this last Super Smash Bros. Game, they ended up just making Charizard his own thing because everyone would eventually end up him anyway because he was the heavy character. So you'd have to avoid things like that where people just go, Molten Corgi. He's the best because he's the heaviest and he doesn't die immediately. Everyone pick him.
I guess it's a good point. Or they could challenge themselves to make all 3 very good in certain situations.
Right, doing it by weight, or in this case, assassin, warrior. It'd be weird to have a specialist version, but sure, why not? But support would be, a fascinating way to handle this.
How insane would that be if the 3 different pets were technically 3 different classifications?
Right? Really,
that is kind of what's happening with the Vikings already. It's just, I don't know. That's interesting. You could go so many ways with this. Travis here in his write-up basically made it 3 different pets, and he said it could be the Molten Corgi, the Frostwolf Ghost Pup, and the Baby Blizzard Bear, which is great. And normally I would go, but where's the Baby Murloc? You gotta have a Baby Murloc, but Murky's already a hero, so.
Sure, what you need is the Tiny Thor.
or the Baneling.
Right, well, those can be costumes, It's okay. It can all be World of Warcraft.
Ah, there you go.
That Corgi's too cute.
Yeah, gotta have the Corgi, man. I actually would rather have the Battle Pug, personally.
For queuing up, being patient, the patient pug?
Yeah, it's the patient. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for your... God, when did they do that? Yeah, it was for doing pugs. Anyways, I really like this idea.
It's a pretty, well-used gaming trope of that you control a group of 3 people, but you only control one at a time, and you sort of snap your fingers and pop between the 3 to execute different abilities. Almost, Banjo-Kazooie style. Yeah.
His ideas for ultimates are interesting. He would think alt 1, he put the marked flawless battle stone, which basically is a large damage increase over 10 seconds. And instantly resets all the other cooldowns. Or the second ultimate, he said Celestial, which would converge all of your pets into one Celestial with their own ability set, or just a speed range attack increase. That could be really cool. I would like to see just a take on the Hunter's Stampede, where it takes your entire stable of pets and they all just maw the target.
I like that.
Except, it would be particularly awesome if they added just a bunch of other pet models to the game, ones you can't control. There's the chicken from Westfall, and there's all 3 different colored cats from the Crazy Cat Lady in Goldshire.
Sure, add a bit of RNG in there, but in that case, I would prefer a pet battler hero that then did things like Hydralisk, spawn this pet that then attacks someone, but each time it's something a little random. The Blizzard Bear does a slow. The Molten Corgi does a splash attack, but you don't know which one's coming.
I don't want randomness. No, sir. And I'm sure that comes as a huge surprise to anyone who listens to the Angry Chicken.
Well,
would you really... Okay, I'm going to call you out on this. Would you really want that in a game like this? Would you really want to not know what's about to happen to you when you get smacked by this ability?
To see 100 different pets charging a wall, yes, I would. March of the Murlocs, but everything's different. It'd be pretty sweet.
There's just no way you could balance that.
No, and you would have to limit it, for sure. You'd be down to all the different effects. You have frost, fire, poison, some damage over time. Okay, we're running out of ideas already. There really couldn't be that many things there could be.
Yeah. And now I'm thinking, like, if you're not controlling them, like the hero isn't the pet, that would just be morbid. I'd be so sad to see, like, these little dogs run down the lane and then just keel over constantly over the course of an entire game.
Zerglings are a little cute, but yes, we don't, grow attached to them, and we are fully aware at this point that they are going to die at some point.
Only you would utter the phrase, Zerglings are a little cute.
They are. That whole,
You're
pet...
afraid of dogs.
Yeah.
How are you not afraid of a Zergling?
Well, ideally, this thing is under my control because I'm awesome and I'm infested in this magical fantasy world. So, and Kerrigan's always petting the Hydralisk, and sure, they look a little slimy and carpusy, but, you don't pet something because it feels bad.
Oh, jeez.
It's soft and cute.
It's just wonderful.
If you were infested, your opinion would change. That's my final thought on the subject.
But in real life, you could just have a dog, and it wouldn't bite you.
You say that.
Oh, Kyle. Your idiosyncrasies amuse me. It's fun. It's fun. Thank you for your wish list there, Travis. I, for one, would love to see the Pet Battler. I'm not sure it's as high on the list as that our first wish list was Ben Brode, wasn't it? Was that our first one?
Well,
it was so well thought out and just made me laugh. Just tickled me pink. But yeah. Damn good. Damn good. Let's take some emails.
Darkness stopped calling.
I hear the wilds call. Wait, nature calls.
Okay, tell them I'm not here.
Enzo writes in and says, "Greetings, casters of the Nexus. I recently received a beta key into the Storm and have been enjoying it a ton and have just reached account level 30. Well, congrats, Enzo.
Wow.
This leads me to my question. Now that I can participate in Hero League, which characters should I work towards acquiring? I could just buy all of the 2K characters and some 4Ks to get me to the 10 requirement. But does the meta demand that I get some of the more expensive ones? Thanks in advance. Love the show. Keep up the great work." I did his first suggestion when Hero League first came out. I was one short, so I just bought Raynor. I was like, it's 2K, I don't already own him. I'll just buy Raynor. Didn't really have much interest in playing him. I just wanted to get into Hero League ASAP.
Right, and I had to do it 3 times because I hadn't spent any cash in the game to get heroes. And so I got Murden 2000, Raynor 2000, and Malfurion, all of which I've played pretty regularly. I don't like playing Murden, but sometimes you need that jumping, leaping, stunning tank when nothing else will do. Yeah. So that being said, like, immediately, the low-cost heroes are good. They're very standard. I don't really trust Blizzard's easy, hard system because Asmodean's rated as easy, and I refuse to accept that. I've got a lot of preferences when I see an Asmodean walking down a lane as to what he's going to be able to get done.
Yeah, I think Asmodean's kind of super hard to play correctly.
So you're not shorting yourself, but I do think you will do yourself a disservice if you hurry into Heroes League too fast and make the assumption that you're going to be picking whatever your favorite is, because that's not what Heroes League is about.
No, it's not. And that would be my answer. Now, we don't know how many characters he already has or what characters he already has, but I would say get a nice swath. Have a couple warriors, have a couple... well, maybe not a couple. You could probably get by with one warrior, but have a couple support, have plenty of DPS, get a specialist here and there, and just make sure you know how to play them, because there will be those scenarios where you are last pick, and everyone before you just took all the damage, and it's like, well, we need a support. And you're going to be kind of caught out like, guys, I don't, well, worst case scenario, I don't have one, which is horrifying, or even along those lines, I don't know how to play it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's even worse. I'd rather, multiple times I've had someone go in my Heroes League solo queue too. They'll be like, ooh, Lily's real good in this situation. I ask, do you play Lily? And they say, no, I might pick whatever you're best at. Let's win. That being said, like I kind of, in my head, I have like one hero per, I feel like I have one hero per classification that I think is like, just get this if you've never played anything in this classification, because it's a relatively easy to play. And it's like Raynor or Vala for assassins. I threw them. I think are perfectly fine pick. Relatively easy to get your head around. I prefer Vala because Vault and you can escape. Although Raynor doesn't need to escape because he just has a, oh, I'm going to die, auto heal.
I love him. He's so nubby and delicious. The ridiculous range, a self-heal, a self-movement increase, can summon things, get out of dodge. He's a great hero for anyone learning how to auto-attack things well.
Yep. For warriors, would you say Muradin? I feel like it's Muradin.
The cheapie?
Yeah, just for like a good, like, so you've never played a warrior before. Start with this.
Yeah, because it's going to teach you how to target something to stun. Uther is, you actually click on them, and that's not going to teach you how to skill shot, which is going to carry you across so many heroes in this game. Once you can skill shot well, you will be good at the majority of the hero pool. But really, just think about the roles you got to fill. You need an engager, so something that stuns or closes distance fast. You need a tank, something that can heal itself no matter what's going on. You're going to need an auto attacker, so this will be your assassin, that does most of their damage through auto attacking. You need a burster like Nova, someone who does very little auto attack damage, but a lot of spell damage can kill something very quickly. You need an off support. It's going to be something like a Tassadar or a Tyrande, can do decent damage, but still fills in that little bit of hole if something weird happens, like a teammate takes.
Basically, someone that can do damage, but also gets healing totem.
Exactly. I mean, even Asmodan can get a level 1 healing totem, so maybe if you want to go that rate. And then you need a full-blown 100% healer, all the spells, a Lili, a Malfurion, a Rhaegar.
Yep. I recommend Lili if you've never played a support before.
Yeah,
she's really good, and she's relatively easy to play.
And as you play Lili, you become a better support because you will see that cup go flying to the wrong person, in your opinion, and you'll suddenly go, I'm ready for something else. Because I would have made a different choice than the auto-target heal did.
Yep. Which granted, it does go to the lowest health person, but maybe the lowest health person is a safe distance away from the retreating people, and the guy in the back has a slightly larger health pool, but he's the one about to get wailed on.
Right. I was playing a game, and I had, a Sylvanas and a Tychus to heal. Both were really, really low. One of them was guts crazy. The other one played super safe. Super safe guy, I let him go.
Yep. Dinosaur Pudge here in the chat room, on top of having an awesome name, asked the question, would you count Illidan as burst DPS? Which I would say yes, but he is so low on my list of, so you've never played an assassin before. Here's what you should play first. No, just stay away from Illidan if you haven't played an assassin.
If you're filling out the list I just gave, I put him in auto attacks. And auto attack heroes are going to slide perfectly into those spots with 2 supports on your team. Because you need to constantly deal damage because these fights are going to last a long time. And you will run out of mana.
It's a very good point. Illidan doesn't even have mana.
No mana bar. Yeah, so it's a perfect pick in that situation.
Not a problem, but hard to play correctly. So if you want to be an Illidan, practice.
Right. So fill your roles. I think it's more important that you take time in Quick Match to figure out multiple heroes that are going to be charging you to kick your butt and know what they're coming for, then dive immediately into Heroes League and get schooled or not have heroes you wanted in the first place.
Yeah. Our last email today comes to us from Pyroshan, which we were originally going to read this email last week, but went really long, so we had to skip it. He says, hey, Nexers, trying to come up with new nicknames for hosts going a la TAC. Getting there.
I don't think we settled on one yet, so it's still open.
No, it is. It is. He said, I'm guessing I have a 50% chance of having this email read. After much hesitation of getting into a new game, I finally relented and joined my friends in Heroes, of course. In Heroes, period. Of course, as with all Blizzard games, I was instantly hooked. I'm now trying to catch up to the curve and soak up as much knowledge as I can. It seems like every time I play a new hero, I spend too much time reading new talents, or I just scan them quickly to get back into fights without really considering the possibilities. Do you guys have any go-to websites, guides, players that you look to for new hero builds when you were trying them out? Maybe even a guide that breaks down the good/bad talents that are shared across heroes? Great show as usual, Garrett, and it's fun to hear about the famous Kyle Ferguson after so many TAC episodes.
Ooh.
The famous Kyle Ferguson.
I do geek out when I get a little mention on TAC.
Really?
Yeah. Kyle was pulling this deck on me, and I absolutely hate it. I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
I pissed that guy out. That guy right there. Yeah.
Like I do, like when I hear like Scott mention like me or Ninger Chicken or this show on one of his shows, that's because I don't do a show with him. You do a show with me.
Yeah.
We do a show together.
Have I ever given you a reason to think I don't take every opportunity to get as excited as possible?
Yeah, I guess.
There you go.
I guess you're right. My favorite is Heroes Fire.
Heroes Fire is the go-to guide site right now. It has some questionable search functions, but it will ultimately lead you to a group of heroes that have a large, well put out, and highly written upon guides. And by clicking on about 3 of them, you'll figure out kind of what the medium is and what's popular at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. As for I don't watch a whole lot of streams outside of tournaments. Like I don't, for whatever reason, I never really got on the individual streamer train. I can't tell you why. Every now and then I put on Savitz from for Hearthstone, but that's about it.
I think it's just, we watch, Cartoon Fridays. It's just a generational thing.
I'm glad that that's where you decided to go with that.
Well,
Thank you.
Doing some homework, put on a TV next to
I
you
would have
nowadays,
gone
people
with
just turn on streams.
I would have gone with Toonami.
Okay.
Watched a lot more of that since it was 5 days a week. But at least we're on the
Didn't stay
same
up late
channel.
for that, though.
We're on the same channel. So Adult Swim, got to see Gundam Wing unedited.
Well, of course. I mean,
Got to hear them drop the H and D bomb.
that's the raid material right there.
Yeah,
Adult Swim.
exactly. So, but I highly recommend watching any and all tournaments you can see. As I mentioned last week, I'm loving everything ESL does. They have the best casters. Solid Jake, man, doing a bang up job. And I learned so much just from watching the NA qualifier finals. It was insane. Yeah, chat room makes a good point. Grubby has actually been streaming a ton of Heroes, and Grubby is always fun to watch. So you can
He's
probably have
very
fun with that.
welcoming, which is something kind of hard to find at his particular level of play style.
Yeah, well, that's why I enjoy Savitz so much for Hearthstone, because so much of the streaming around Hearthstone, I don't know why, is just that kind of like stereotypical jerky, broy like atmosphere. And Savitz is just chill. He's just calm. And he's having a good time, and he's being analytical, and I like that.
Well, and Grubby also streams by himself rather regularly, and that's the situation you're probably going to be playing in the most. Most streamers get in, they have 1 or 2 friends or a lot of a full team ready to go, and there's nothing to really gather for yourself out of watching that. In fact, we didn't talk about this today, but I'm going to grab a link and throw it into today's show notes. It is to the Tempo Storm game of the ESL Losers Final, casted by Dreadnought, and he does an awesome job of breaking down every single decision that is made in talents across a 30-minute game. So go check out this link.
Yeah. And we mentioned it on past episodes, and I don't know why I didn't think about it now, but it bears repeating. Anything Caldor puts out that's Heroes related, watch it. He does a great job. So those are my picks. Also, Solid Jake tweeted out a really cool website I hadn't seen until today, heroeshype.com, which is, I like now for their scoreboard, which is a wonderful calendar of all of the esports for Heroes of the Storm that's either coming up or just happened.
Oh, Gillyweed, nice. Yeah, this was, I saw this a couple months ago when it was just getting put together, so they have grown dramatically.
What about Gillyweed?
Oh, she does their rundowns each week.
Oh, gotcha. I was just like, why are we talking about
Because, the Triwizard Tournament, man.
That's where my brain went. That's exactly where it went.
The underwater level.
I was just like, because we need gills and
Yeah.
fin feet?
Harry Potter, such a cheater.
They all cheat. One had like a bubble thing. The other dude was half a shark. He was
Yeah, that's
basically
just how she made you feel. That was
He
just
was-
J.K. Rowling being like, see, everyone likes Harry Potter. It's like, no, he cheated.
he was basically a street shark.
Mad Eye Moody was running the show.
Well, he technically wasn't,
Spoiler alert?
technically wasn't Mad Eye Moody.
Yeah, well, you're right. It was Doctor Who.
It was the Doctor.
Doing that tongue thing that makes no sense.
Snake-like because
Yeah, well, There's enough snake imagery throughout all the movies.
Yeah.
I didn't need that.
Yeah. No.
I like snakes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And as you can see, we have reached the end of this episode because we are now making jokes about Harry Potter. Check out those websites, though. Hope they help you out. I know Heroes Fire and Watching ESL has done tons for my game, so hope it'll help you. Thanks again to our patrons over at patreon.com/ITN for supporting the show and helping us put more time into it. If you haven't done so already and you are an iTunes listener, please leave us a review in the iTunes store. We don't have any new reviews to thank this week, but it really helps the show out, helps us reach new listeners because every new review helps bump us up the ranks. So thanks for those and keep them coming. Into the Nexus is produced by amove.tv and Declan H., our Patreon producer. You can see more about this and all of the other shows we do over at amove.tv. Our email is itncast@gmail.com, or you can continue the conversation over at itncast.reddit.com. We record live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/amovetv. And next Thursday, I am going to have, I won't have any fiance duties because Katie will sadly be out of town. So be prepared, folks, for the longest after show stream we have ever had.
I look forward to it.
There will be alcohol. There will be paint leaving the walls from the amount of swears.
Oh, yes.
There will be, hopefully, many victories.
Yeah.
And more hopefully, many, many more victory dances to Electric Six.
Yes.
Tune in, twitch.tv/amovetv after next week's show, folks. It'll be fun. Follow us on Twitter at ITNcast, and big thanks to Brian Griffith for our intro music. He can find his work, or you can find his work, over at briangriffithmusic.com. Kyle, where can folks find you?
You can find me at kyleferguson.com, where I am putting together my next Dungeons & Dragons post. This will be a rundown of the game I played with Garrett while I was down in Florida on my last vacation.
Yeah!
Yep, the one-off rules that I used to just, in a matter of, maybe 20 minutes, we all made characters and we're ready to play.
Yeah.
It was probably hard for new players.
It was longer than 20 minutes. The setup was definitely longer than 20 minutes.
That's true. But I managed to squeeze the whole entire one-off experience into about 4 hours and a half, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got real hung up at one point, too. So it probably would have gone quicker if we weren't stupid and bad at role-playing.
Oh, you guys did great. I loved your bartender.
My bartender was very angry at the mayor.
And then follow me on Twitter at Kyle Ferguson.
I got to punch the mayor in the face, people. I got to punch him right in the face.
That's what D&D is all about. You can't punch Zelda in the face.
No, you can't, which would be really mean because Zelda's a badass.
Right, but, she called you there, and then she just leaves guards out. You can't even knock on the front door.
Well, maybe like a jab in the arm. I don't know if a punch in the face is really called for. You heard it here first, folks. Kyle beats women.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy that. You can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Arch. You can find my graphic design work over at nomoonart.com. And as always, on the Angry Chicken podcast about Hearthstone. And this coming Tuesday, I'll be on campus at Penn State giving a talk about podcasting and being a freelance graphic designer. It'll be fun. If you're a student, come on by and say hi and listen to what I have to say. And then I'm going to probably just tell folks to ask questions at any point so you can actually yell instead of being a chat room and try and throw me off course. So that'll be fun.
That's so cool, dude.
It'll be a
I
good
hope
time.
there's TED Talks of it.
I believe it is being recorded. So
awesome.
I know if it is being recorded, I know I'm getting a copy. So maybe I'll throw it up on one of the podcast feeds. Anyways, just because we aren't running ads at the top of the show anymore, it doesn't mean that our sponsors' codes are any less awesome. Check out doghousesystems.com. The code to use is ITM, which will get you a 120 gigabyte solid state hard drive added on at no cost to you onto your already amazing Doghouse Systems gaming rig, and it will directly support into the Nexus in the process every time that code is used. And that same code, ITN, to reiterate, is good over at tweakedaudio.com as well, where it will get you 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of earbuds and headphones from them over there. We love them to pieces. It's also free shipping, and it also works out of the US and Canada, which is a rare find these days. So go use that code. Get yourself some awesome earbuds, a great computer to plug it into, and have yourself a good old time. We thank them for their support. We thank you for listening, and we will see you guys next week for episode 47 of Into the Nexus. But until then, good luck and have fun.
Take care.